welcome to the Girls in Real Life podcast.
You are joined with your hosts Charlie and
Shannon!
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about things every woman should know. Like, we're not saying you must know this or you can't be a woman, but it's things that, would help you and are quite valued in your life. And let's just jump completely straight in. The first one we have is that every woman should know to check your boobs.
Yeah, you literally need to know this. I actually did this the other day in the shower. I feel like that's the best time to do it because I'm not normally just like, I don't want to be like groping my boobs in public or by accident or something. But like, you've got like the time, you're in there, you're shaving, you're doing whatever you're doing, washing your hair once a week, whatever you're doing. And it's the perfect time to do it. I did it the other day and it actually, I think once you've done it, you get like a sense of relief. Well, I do anyway, like, if when you do it and you know that you're fine or you can't feel anything, you're like, and it's like a relief of something you didn't know you were carrying around with you.
Yeah.
You like touching, you like expecting something, like the worst, you're expecting something. And if you do find something, obviously the best thing to do is consult your doctor straight away and be like, I think something's up, and then they'll check and they'll either put you at ease or they'll help you either way. But yeah, it's something you should definitely do. It's something not to be ashamed of. It is rare for young women to get it, like breast cancer or something wrong there, but it does still happen. I think it's like 1 in 8 women in the UK have breast cancer at some point in their lives, which is huge. And if you spot it early, you'll have a good recovery. So that's your health, PSA for the day.
Oh my god, that rhymed. That rhymed what you just said. That was amazing. Slogan. Woo!
I know. Hire me, someone, please. But yeah. So I think it's really important to check. Do it in the shower. Do it in your bedroom. Obviously, don't do it in a public place where someone will think you're touching yourself. But
yeah,
do it somewhere sensible.
Near men, because men are strange.
Yeah.
They get all kinds of feelings for no reason, aren't they, bloody men?
All kinds of weird feelings, but yeah, it's definitely something you should check. And men check too, because I think it's like 400 or 500 men a year get breast cancer as well. So if there is any guys listening, check your boobs as well, but do it sensibly. Okay, what was the next thing?
So next up, big one, is learning and knowing how to say no. I struggle with this even now. Like, I will admit, I'm a people pleaser. I will do anything anyone tells me to do within reason, as long as it's like legal and things. But yeah. I've always struggled to say no, and it's something I'm still learning to do. But it's okay to say no to stuff, whether that's people asking you to do things you don't want to do, putting pressure on you, giving you extra work, if it's in a sexual context, like, you can say no if you don't want to do that. If you're not giving your consent, then just say no. It's fine. And there's people like me who are people pleasers who will and have learned for those people below me how to say no. So you gotta be confident and be like, no, I don't want to do that.
You need to prioritize yourself. That's the thing. You can't please everyone, and you can't live your life like saying yes to everyone, because there's literally a film, Yes Man, where he says yes to everything and his life is like in shambles. Everything goes wrong. It's like, everyone needs to be selfish every now and again. Well, I wouldn't really call it selfish. You're just looking after yourself. If you can't handle something, then say no. If you're uncomfortable, just say no. If something's, just making you feel wrong and this isn't right, just say no. It's hard, but it's better saying no than saying yes and putting yourself in a worse situation. Because then it's like, it's hard to come back from that. Saying no, you'll just get someone like, oh, why? Like, oh, why don't you do it? And you're just like, well, no.
Yeah, and if the people that you're saying no to don't accept that you're saying no, they are not the people that you want in your life. Like, you don't want people pushing you towards things that you don't want to do. That means they're just toxic. They aren't being around you for the right reasons, and they're just damn right rude.
No, completely. Completely. I had a friend who I used to go out with drinking and stuff, and there was always a pressure where we had to get really, really drunk. And like she'd always drink and get herself in situations. I remember one time we were out, and like there was these guys who were really drunk or like high or something, and we ended up getting in the car, and she was like, "Yeah, yeah." She's like, "Yeah, let's go with these guys in the car." I was like, "They've been drinking." I was like, "I'm pretty sure there's cocaine in the car." I was like, "Let's not."
Not a safe
Um,
environment.
yeah, and I was like, I said no, and then as our relationship faded, I said no a lot more because I was like, I don't want to drink, I don't want to do this, I'm not comfortable, you know? And it's better to say no and get toxic people and toxic things out of your life than to say yes and put yourself in a situation. If I got in that car, you know, I might have been in a car accident or something bad might have happened. You know, police could have come and arrested me because I was in the car with drugs or whatever. But, you know, just say no. Just say no. Drugs are bad. Just say no.
Yeah, just say no. We don't need that.
Just say no.
We don't need the
Just
pressures.
say no.
And even if you get called names, like I've been called names, like at university, I don't want to take part in, like, obviously things happen at uni, like drugs and like, you know,
Yeah.
like those NOS balloons. I said no so many
Yeah.
times, like, no, I don't want to be involved in that. I've been called names. You're a pussy. You're flaky. You're not fun. You're boring. I don't care. I would rather be boring than do something that I don't want to do. So that's lesson number 2 for you, listeners. Right, number 3.
I was going to say, you are not boring.
I know, I think I'm fun in my own, you know, small way.
You are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are definitely a fun person.
I try. I'm not the most fun in my family, granted. But what are you gonna do?
So number 3 is how to escape bad relationships. So basically, just surround yourself with loving people and supportive people. You know, it's crucial for a good physical and mental health. If someone's toxic, if someone's bad, it's better to walk away than something awful happening. And I just want to say, if you are trying to walk away from an abusive relationship or something like that, I did find that organisations like the domestic National Domestic Violence has a free phone where you can literally ring them and help them. And I'm pretty sure it's the sort of thing where they're like, if you're silent, do you want us to send you a message or something if you can't speak? Obviously, Women's Aid and Refuge are also really good for abusive relationships as well. So that's just out there for anyone suffering. But yeah, you should definitely know how to escape and when to escape. I think is crucial.
I think as well that applies to like looking out and acknowledging red flags. Like I mean we've all been there with relationship baggage. Like obviously some people haven't been in like the first relationship yet, which is probably for the best. But I think just not ignoring red flags. Like I was actually reflecting on this the other day, and because I saw a TikTok and it was like this girl saying that there's all these red flags for this lad, and then it's like, but he's over 6 foot. Right, and I was like, oh my god,
right.
But like I was like, okay, it's funny, but in like real life situations, like that is like a huge thing. And I was thinking about this one time that I was with my ex, and I mean, I think we've established that he was a bit of a whack job. But he went on a lad's holiday, right? This is a little story time. And as soon as he got there, he was like, I don't want to talk to you while I'm here with the boys. Like, I don't want to speak to you. I don't want any communication with you. And obviously it made me really sad, right? So when he came back, I had a bit like, gave him the cold shoulder a little bit. But then he was like, oh, I'm not going to say names because, you know, but he was like, oh, we'll call him David. David's going to have an STI check at the clinic because whilst we were on holiday, he slept with a prostitute, right? Okay. And he was like, oh, just for fun, I'm going to have an STI check as well. And I was like, my alarms were going off. My red flags were popping up. They were like, hello. And I obviously now, looking back, I was like, you ignored the biggest red flag there. Like, and you could have got out and you didn't. just because it's sometimes easier to ignore it than it is to acknowledge it. Obviously now I'm being like, he obviously slept with a prostitute and cheated on me.
Yeah.
But at the time I was like, no, I'm going to ignore all these signals that are going
Yeah,
off in my
God.
brain because I don't want to deal with it. And sometimes you've got to deal with it for yourself to be able to be happy. So yeah, that's my little story time. Reflect on that as you will. Learn from me being naive and stupid.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good lesson.
I think that's a good lesson, and you know, if you are having these red flags, I mean, yeah, if you're having red flags, I mean, if you think you're crazy about it, maybe talk to someone else and see what they say. And if they're like, yeah, this is weird, he definitely cheated on you, then you could be like, right, it's not just me then. It's not just me thinking I'm crazy or I'm being extra paranoid. But yeah, did you ever find out what did he have anything?
No, he literally so stupid. He was literally like, "Oh, it came back negative, and I was there like, "Oh, well done." And then at the time, I was like, "Why am I congratulating you? Like, I'm obviously sensing some fishy behaviour." I don't know what I was thinking, but I mean, at least that means I couldn't have caught anything. Oh, just thinking about it makes me want to like climb upside, like into a dark hole,
I
and
know,
just.
but the worst case, if something did happen, God, and he was just.
And then I'm riddled. Brilliant. Thanks, mate. That's nice. But yeah,
God, just completely ruining your life.
I know. That's one of those things that like I pushed way back and then it like resurfaced when I was having like a really miserable day and I was like, oh, I don't want to think about this. But hey ho.
Now.
Yeah. We took on those red flags and we reflected and we were like, no, that is not good. Success.
Oh.
Right. Next up, we have getting a pay rise. Okay. So we all know that even though, I mean, personally, even though people say that the gender pay gap isn't a thing, it is a thing.
It's such a thing.
It is such a thing. And I think it's one of those things that is often like overlooked and like people are like, oh, there's worse things going on. But if you think you deserve to be paid more for what you're doing and you are really excelling and going above and beyond and doing more than what you're being paid, you get that pay rise. And if you don't get it, you find somewhere that will give it to you and pay you for what you're worth, I think, because we're not here for mediocrity and like being treated like poo by employers.
100%, yeah. I know, oh yes, there's obviously loads of horrible stuff going on in the world, but it doesn't invalidate your feelings and the stuff going on in your life. If you're getting paid a lot less than like your male colleague, you know, you have a life, you have things to feed, you have bills to pay, you have everything else that that other person has, then why are they getting more money? You know, just because they have a dick, that means they get a bigger package? No. No, it should be the same. You know, most women have bigger dicks than guys anyway because they're bolder and braver than most of them. Because the wusses, I can't. It makes me mad.
Yeah, no, there is a pay gap.
It does infuriate me, and like I think sometimes like I do appreciate like retail jobs in that respect because like say for example, like supermarkets like Aldi, is it, and Lidl, they pay well their colleagues, and I think that's a key example of like particularly in retail you being paid for what you're worth, because even though there are people above you, you actually do get paid for the amount of stress and effort and hours that you have to put in, even though it's just a retail job. So I think that is something that you could maybe use as like a margin potentially, because you know what you're worth, you know that you're good at your job, no matter what it is. So I think, not being afraid to be like, I actually read a book recently and it's about have you heard of it, The Flat Share? Everyone's reading it.
Oh yeah.
And in the book, the main like female protagonist, she is like she works in publishing. She's like an editor, but she's not being paid what she should be paid. Like she's doing all these extra things. Like she's putting in time. she's putting an effort, she's working more hours at home when she's supposed to have finished and not being paid for it. And she knows that, but she is too worried because her boss is a bit of a cock to say anything. And in the end, she does get what she wants, and it does work out. But I think, don't leave it sitting there stewing. Like, if you know your worth, you get what you're worth, 100%.
100%. But, if you deserve that, then you should be entitled to it. Whether it is, a raise or you're asking for less work or benefits, But I would say if you are asking for a raise, just prepare yourself for every scenario your boss could throw at you to say no and make a counter argument. Say, for instance, if he's like, we don't have it in the budget, and then you can say, well, Timmy's on 10,000 more than me, let's just lower his salary and make it equal.
Yeah, and
Or
XYZ, we're making this profit here and
up.
stuff. Yeah, definitely. Go in there with some evidence and be like, no.
Nah.
Even if it is a man and you're scared, that would be me. I'd be like, hello, Mr. Boss Man. I've put in some more time recently. And I think I'm working really well. Can I have an extra 50p? I probably wouldn't even get that far. I'd feel bad. But no, that's also a thing I need to work on 100%.
Yeah. Do I think it is a good point what you said about retail? Obviously, retail isn't everyone's dream job, but there is an equality level to it where you are paid what you're worth. People who have been there a lot longer can get paid a lot more, because obviously they have more experience and time. And people who've just started work on like a starting salary, but it's usually equal. It's not like someone's paid £15 an hour, another person's paid £6 an hour. There is more equality, so big employees.
Maybe look at retail for inspiration.
Yeah, sort it out.
Yeah, sort your shiz out. Sort it out, guys. And our final, which is probably the most important thing I'd say, on our list of things everyone should know, it's something that we all need to do. I know it's really hard to do this, but you should learn how to love yourself. And that sounds really, really cheesy, but stay with us. Just put yourself first and just make no apologies for sticking up for what you believe in. If you learn to love yourself, the rest will come afterwards. A lot of women, they're desperate to find love, they're desperate to find someone who accepts them, but you're never going to find someone who accepts you unless you accept yourself. So you need to make yourself happy, and then you can be with someone and be your full authentic self and be completely happy with them. So just love yourself.
Yeah, it's that's like the cliche line of a movie, isn't it? Love yourself.
Yeah.
But I think it could come in any form as well. Like whether you want to factor in a night in the week where you turn your phone off and you just do things for yourself. Like I'd say workout. That's not really in my routine, but whatever. You could do some journaling. Like you could do a face mask. But then it could also be like your long-term goals. Like for me, like one of mine is to love myself for like who I am at the moment. Because I have this like big fixation on like I feel like I'm behind. Like people my age have got this, and this, and I haven't got that. And people younger than me have got this and I haven't. And they're moving out, they're buying houses, they're getting engaged, they're having babies. Like it's fine. Like you need to learn that you are in the right time for yourself and what you're doing is fine. Like that's like, just gotta go with the flow and love where you're at.
No, completely. No.
And eat some chocolate as well.
Really good point. Yeah, that's a really good, I think, there is a thing now. I think because everything's eat as much chocolate as you want.
Because of social media and that access to everything, and of course, everybody's stuck at home at the minute. You look at other people in your age group and you're like, oh my God, like they're hired at Cosmo. Why am I not hired at Cosmo? What have I done wrong? And it's like, yeah, everybody's path is different. It doesn't mean you're less of a person than they are. It doesn't mean they're better than you in any way. Just be your own individual, authentic self, and you'll get to the point you want to get at. you're just not there yet, but you're working at your own pace. So
it's like at the moment, like on TikTok, it's this thing to be like, I ain't never seen two da da da. So like, I haven't never seen two best friends where they've both got big boobs, for example. And it's like, don't compare yourself directly to your friends either, because your best friend might be a size 6 and you could be a 12, but they are not you and you're not them. Like, it doesn't matter if one of you's got small boobs, the other one's got big boobs, if the other one's had like 600 boyfriends and you've never even kissed a boy. Like, it's fine. Like, just love who you are, because then you'll get the things that you want that are right for you. Like, people, you don't need to plan things and all these things. I mean, I do, because I'm a bit of a control freak, but
no, yeah, like obviously people see someone that's not them and they're like, oh, I want to be like that. But then you don't realise that the person you're looking at is probably looking back at you saying, oh, I want to be like that. Like, just because you think, they're doing a lot better than you, it doesn't mean that they're not thinking the same. Everybody has an expectation, and everyone's expectation is different. But love yourself and then it'll all come along. So I'm going to drill that in, love yourself.
You've got to keep going. You'll have good days and bad days, but you'll love yourself eventually. You're stuck with yourself for the rest of your life. Exactly. So you got to love yourself to the core and think you're the baddest 10 out of 10 bitch on the planet and no one compares to you.
Completely. No, be your own biggest fan. I've told you that many, many times. Obviously, there's ups and downs. I have very good days and then I have very bad days. But for most of the time, I do try to champion myself. And I'm like, I did this today. How amazing is that? It's probably more of we should try and see the positive a little bit more. Instead of saying, what didn't I achieve today? Say, for instance, what did I achieve today? And when you weigh up, you're like, oh my God, I did this, I did this, I did this. And, that's how the process will start.
Well, we hope this episode has guided you on your way to things that you need to learn or start or you're in the process of. This is all a learning curve. I'm still learning to say no. Like, it's fine. Everyone's checking their boobs by the end of this, hopefully, and being safe and looking out for them red flags that are popping up everywhere.
Obviously, don't expect to get everything straight away, but life is a learning curve. And with that, we hope you have an amazing holiday season, whether it's Christmas or something else you celebrate. And we will see you in the new year for 2021, where we hope it's going to be a better year.
We're going to slay. It's going to be the year. This year was going to be my year. Next year is going to be the year.
Don't say that. Every time someone says that, it goes bad.
No, I need to set this mantra for myself. I can't go in with a negative attitude. It's going to happen. It's going to pop off. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be better than 2020,
yeah.
at least. It's got to be. There's not going to be a COVID part 2.
But happy holidays and see you in the new year.